What is up? It is Taco Tuesday. Welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jamar here with my good friend Jared Smith. Jared, happy
Oh,
Tuesday.
hello.
How you doing?
Yes. Good morning. You're in
Good
Portlandia,
morning.
correct?
I am
Or did
still in
you
Portlandia. We actually fly
Portlandia?
to Phoenix at like 9 a.m. this morning, 9 a.m. Pacific,
You
noon
and the Super
Eastern.
Bowl
So,
in the
yeah,
Phoenix.
yep. I know. I'm just going a week and a half early, but they'll be down there in about 6 or 7 days or
Doesn't
so.
matter.
So
You're there for the
I'm
Super
just
Bowl.
scouting out the land.
There you
Scouting out
go.
the
There you go.
land, making sure it looks good. I'll give you guys all the recommendations if anyone's going.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Always
yeah,
a team player.
anytime. Yeah, you're heading down for the Super Bowl, right?
I am. I'll be there Monday. I'll be there Monday through Friday. Unlike last year, we're not actually going to the game this year. I will be watching the game. Actually, I don't know where I'm watching the game yet. I don't have any Super Bowl party plans. So if you have a Super Bowl party in Vegas you'd like to invite me to, I'm available. But
I'll
yeah,
hit
I'll be
the
down
net
there
out
for the
there.
I'll be down there for the week of the game. We're doing obviously a lot of radio row preamble stuff for my various other opportunities, and it'll be fun. I'm excited because I've never been on Radio Row for a Super Bowl before. So last year we went to the game.
Yeah.
This year I'll be kind of more on the behind the scenes side. So all angles covered.
That's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing the content that you create. But we have so much to get into today. NFL offseason news. For every team except for two, it is technically the offseason. So a lot of
Yeah.
different things are happening. Coaches interviewing other places, coaches being hired, players possibly being picked up by teams. We'll see what happens. We have Super Bowl early bets. I technically only have one right now. I'm pretty sure Jared probably has some Super Bowl early bets that he is on. And then we have Dalen Cuff coming on to talk college basketball. A lot going on. The Big 12 is freaking packed this year. They are such a good conference. We have two really good games going on tonight. We'll break those down and maybe give you some best bets at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's bet it. NFL offseason news. It's off season for every team but two in the league. So here's the latest news. First of all, the Cardinals officially interviewing Lou Anarumo for their head coaching position. How do you think that he could fit in to their franchise?
Yeah, I like that move. I think Lou deserves a look. Again, I'll be honest. If you were going to ask me, okay, Jared, you're starting your team today. You're the GM. You get to hire anybody you want. I would mostly interview offensive minded head coaches. Again, I don't have any data to back this up, but from what I glean in the NFL today, I would prefer an offensive minded head coach because I think they're a little bit more modern with the game management, whereas a defensive minded head coach is very much concerned with the conservative nature of the game plan because defenses, if it's a defensive game, then it's going to be a low scoring game and then they might not be as aggressive in some key areas. So again, that's
Yeah.
just a personal preference of mine. Lou Anarumo, I don't think there's a brighter defensive mind in the league in terms of adjustments and in-game stuff. But a lot of times when a defensive coordinator gets graduated to the head coaching position, we haven't seen it go well. I can think of Todd Bowles as the first one that comes to mind. There's some other ones I'm sure if I really sat down and think about it. Some guys are just meant to be defensive coordinators, and some guys are meant to be offensive coordinators. I don't know if Lou's meant to be a head coach, but I think his resume is worthy of an opportunity.
Yeah. Speaking of offensive coordinators, Kellen Moore is officially named the Chargers offensive coordinator. I'm excited to see how he works with Justin Herbert in the bevy, basically, of skill players that they have. Like, the dude's 34 years old. He already has 4 seasons under his belt as an offensive coordinator, and he guided the Cowboys to be both what they are in the passing and the rushing game. Um, I look at, the Chargers and how they've been playing. Like, I want to see them air it out a little bit. Use Justin Herbert to his strengths. Like, the Cowboys ranked seventh overall in 4 seasons with 7.5 pass or yards per pass attempt. I think that like him, Kellen Moore, and Justin Herbert could have like a really good relationship, especially with his, backstory of being a quarterback over the years.
I agree 100%. My eyes kind of did the whole. I can't raise one. Can you raise one eyebrow? I can't do that.
No.
I don't have that ability. Yeah, I know. It's like I feel like I'm like winking, and it's like it's weird. Um, if I could raise one eyebrow, I would have when I saw this hire in like a piques your interest kind of
Hmm.
way because First of all, let's think of it from the other side. What's Kellen Moore thinking? You go from Pick City Prescott to now Justin Herbert. There's one eyebrow right there. And then the other one is I do think he has a little bit more pizzazz to him than Joe Lombardi did, which was the previous Chargers offensive coordinator, who was, I would say, about as vanilla as the cupcakes I ate last night. So that would be an upgrade, I think, in that area as well. So you get upgrades on both sides of the aisle here. You get Kellen Moore that now gets this new bag of tricks, also known as Justin Herbert, and his laser rocket arm and all the great things he can do. And then you get what I think is Kellen Moore being a little bit of a spicy addition to a Chargers staff that, again, defensive-minded head coach and Brandon Staley. Sometimes they struggle with the offensive game management decisions. Maybe Kellen, who got looks to be a head coach, by the way. I think he was interviewed by the Panthers. Maybe he is that missing link to kind of make this offense a little more pizzazzy, as I used that word twice in the same show. So you can cover up your bingo card for that. I like this move a lot. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. And to be honest with you, and I've said this before throughout this year, in this season, like they're not using Justin Herbert to his strengths right now. They're wasting his talent at this point, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of a caliber of a quarterback the dude can be. I bet on him 2 years ago at 60-1 to be MVP for the season. Obviously, we know how that season ended up going, but at the beginning of the year, I really did feel good about his game. But the last 2 seasons, we've seen the Chargers not use him to his full potential. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what him and Kellen Moore can scheme up with the Chargers offense this year. I think this is a great move for them. Let's get to Green Bay because there's a lot of drama right now. Are they looking to move on from Aaron Rodgers? Are they not looking to move on from Aaron Rodgers? What do you think the Packers' next step is when it comes to who's going to be under center for them next season?
I mean, I hope Aaron Rodgers is wearing green, but Jets green, right? I don't know. This is like asking me what's going to happen in like the latest Game of Thrones episode. Like it's arguably the most intense drama, the most and the reason why
the most dramatic season yet.
Yeah, it really is. It's like The Bachelor when he finally decides, right? The reason why I think it's even more dramatic is because Aaron is very much a public figure, unlike a lot of other players in the NFL. Obviously, they're all public figures. We all know about them. But Aaron is in a very unique situation because he actually has a long-standing media spot that is above the team. Like usually when you know this because you're with the team, we were with the Hawks.
Yeah.
The team has these like long-standing media relationships, and Trae Young will go do an interview with this radio station every week, whoever, whatever. But Aaron's is not team related; it's Pat McAfee related. So he is front and center on arguably the most watched sports media show every week, kind of spilling his guts, and that's very unique in the NFL world because usually once the season ends, the media relationships, you don't hear from these guys unless they're tweeting or doing something stupid on Snapchat. If Aaron's going to continue to be front and center with this process, it's going to get weird, man. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be in the public eye a lot for the next 3, 4, 5 months or so until he finally makes his decision. But I don't think it's as easy as, Nathaniel Hackett's the offensive coordinator with the Jets. He's going to the Jets. It's Aaron Rodgers. There's going to be layers to this, and I don't think there's any way that we can really predict what's going on in that dude's mind, especially when he's on hallucinogenic drugs.
It is crazy. And Aaron Rodgers will be on Pat McAfee later today, so we'll see what he has to say about the rumors that have been circulating for the last couple of weeks.
This is the first time the Jets moved too, right? This is the first time he's been on there, I think, since the Jets hired Hackett. Yeah, today, that'll be must-watch TV. Yeah. Today
is definitely going to be much watch when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee. So, make sure to tune in for that one. All right, let's get into the Super Bowl because it is coming up. I'm scouting out the land in Phoenix over the next couple of days. And then Jared and everyone else heads down about next Monday, there for the whole week. Looking forward to seeing the content that's coming out of there and how these teams are preparing for the Super Bowl this year. Who tweeted? Someone tweeted, but for real though, can I watch Rihanna at halftime? One of the players tweeted that. I forgot who it was. They tweeted it out. It said, for real, can I watch Rihanna during the halftime performance? But I will say, last
I
year
wonder if they
at
have,
the
if
Super
they
Bowl, I
have a
was
TV in the locker room that they can watch. Probably
probably,
not.
but I will say last year I was sitting on the Bengals side. I was only a couple rows up, on the Bengals side, and there were about 5, 6 players that stayed out to watch the halftime performance. Like truly, players
That's
stayed
awesome.
out there to watch the halftime performance. They watched like Eminem and Mary
Last
J.
year's
Blige,
halftime
Snoop Dogg.
performance was epic.
It was
That was
iconic. It really was.
Eminem,
Yeah,
Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, California Love. I mean, that was
yeah,
freaking. That brought me back to my
yeah.
high school days right there. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
was
that.
MVS that tweeted that said, "Hey, can I watch Rihanna at the Super Bowl with MVS?"
MVS can do whatever the hell he wants after the game he had. He can do whatever.
Absolutely, they
Hey,
can.
you can do whatever you want, bro. I think he's the reason why they're in this game. Not gonna lie,
Yeah, truly.
because he was
Yeah,
the only
if you
receiver
want
that
to
was
watch
really making any
Rihanna,
plays.
I mean, but we all understand Rihanna's also iconic, so I'm excited to see her halftime performance too. I haven't seen her perform in so long, so that's gonna be fun. Let's get into some early Super Bowl bets. Who you on? Do you have anything early? Any props? Any MVP bets? How you feeling? About 2 weeks before the actual Super Bowl.
I kind of feel the same. So I did start to do some research last night. I did kind of
Hmm.
roll up my sleeves a little bit, and I started to get into some of the meat and potatoes of this game because, as we
Yeah.
discussed yesterday, and our producer Kyle put out a clip. If you haven't checked it out, it's on my Twitter, it's on Pickswise's Twitter, of kind of the early gut reaction to where I think this game will land, and I think the Chiefs are going to win. And it's not a real, oh my god, shove your chips into the middle, all in on the Chiefs. It's only a 2 unit play for me. It's 2/3 of like my max play. But my initial read on this game was Chiefs. You can get another point and a half or so of line
Hmm.
value from where I did a pick them. It's currently sitting at Superbook actually at 2. I did see a couple shops yesterday start to move back towards 1.5. If I had to guess, I think this line probably closes between 1 and 2. Maybe it closes at 1.5, 2. It ain't gonna get to 3, guys. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Unless Mahomes is hurt, unless there's some kind of injury bug, flu bug, COVID bug that sweeps through
Going
the
around.
Chiefs locker room over. I hope not too, but I'm trying to come up with a scenario that would push this line to that key number of 3. It tried. It was like the little engine that could. It was trying to get up the hill on Sunday night, and it stopped at 2.5. And since then, we've kind of been on the descent back down towards a pick'em. I think this continues to trend towards the Chiefs because when I look at this game, I don't see a reason why the Eagles should be favored by a field goal. I just don't. And I know that their defensive line, their offensive line, the trenches, sure. Talk to me about the trenches all day. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. I hear a lot of people comparing this game to Bucks Chiefs from 2 years ago to Broncos Panthers from 2015. MVP quarterback Cam Newton, Patrick Mahomes going up against these great
Yeah.
defenses. And in both games, the great defensive lines won. Here's the difference. This is a big difference, people. The quarterbacks playing against those teams were Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Are you guys ready to put Jalen Hurts in that category right now? I ain't.
No.
Not from the game he played. And I dug into the numbers from his game against the Niners. He had his lowest yards per attempt on the season, 4.8. He had his lowest adjusted accuracy rate of the season, 66%. 3 seconds time to throw. It was his 6th longest time of the year. He averaged about 2.8. 0 big time throws. His 5th time this season without a big time throw. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes had 4 big time throws on one leg against the Bengals. So you're giving me points with Mahomes, and I know the trenches are stacked against him, but man, you want to trust Jalen Hurts like you trusted Tom Brady in that game with the Bucks. And oh, by the way, the Chiefs were favored in that game against the Bucks. They are an underdog now. It's such a different. It's not apples to apples, that comparison to the Bucks Chiefs game 2 years ago. So I'm still on the Chiefs train right now, and I haven't found any data right now to move me to the other side.
I am interested to see, though, how the Chiefs O-line holds up with the Eagles D-line. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is going to be under a ton of pressure in this game. But, I mean, I feel like maybe the O-line can hold up. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We have 2
Not
weeks
the
to
number
do
one
all of
pass
this
block win
research,
rate
get
in
our
the
bets.
Their pass blocking numbers are better than the Niners this year. So just keep that in mind. Their offensive line's actually pretty.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning the Eagles. I haven't done a ton of research yet, to be honest with you. We have 2 weeks. But Jared, maybe we'll do another swag bet just to make it fun, just to make it swaggy. Why not?
I mean, go out with a bang, right? Swag bet on the Super Bowl, the
Seriously,
last game of the year. Yeah,
why
maybe.
not? Yeah,
But here's the problem:
we'll talk
if it
about it. I'll
loses,
let you marinate on it.
yeah, I might fly
I'll let you marinate.
away, never pay it off.
I'll let you marinate on it for real.
Appreciate
All right,
that.
let's take it from the field to the hardwood. Bring in Dalen Cuff, college basketball broadcaster for ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at Dalen Cuff. Dalen, how are you? Happy Taco Tuesday.
Oh, happy Taco Tuesday at what is it, 10
Yeah.
15 a.m. Eastern time? Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
dive right in.
I know.
7:15 out here
Both of us are on
Coast.
Pacific time.
Really getting
Yeah.
going.
I'm already hungry. I wake up immediately and all I want sometimes is some tacos. You know, it is Tuesday, so we're looking forward to it. How was yeah, how's the college basketball season going for you so far?
I'm still recovering from last night's Iowa State money line play. That was disgusting.
Wow.
And I know the line stunk. I said a daily wager. This is my best bet, guys. I know it stinks. It made no sense. Texas Tech, not just the 0-8 part. They were playing without Papa Isaacs and Fakwa, two of their top 4 scorers, and a guard against a team that forces them to turn it over all the time. Iowa State got Caleb Grill back, who went nuts and had all these threes. They're up 23 points. It was a wrap. I'm counting money in my account. I still have not recovered from that. That was heinous, and you could see it happening. With like 6 minutes left, I'm like, this is not going to end well. And so here we are.
This is a safe
It's
space.
tough to sleep.
Alan, you can let it out. This is a gambling show. It's safe. We understand. We used to have a show. We used to have a segment called, what was it, Monday Morning Therapy, LJ? Something like that.
Yeah, Monday morning therapy.
Yeah.
We could have Tuesday morning therapy this morning.
Every Monday.
Yeah. Other than that, it was a great night. We had a good roll. Moneyline parlay, Texas, Kansas. We had a couple other things going on with some small conference things. Everything was good. And then that happened.
Everything was good, and then that happened probably right before we went to bed, and then it was tough to sleep all night. But you know what? Today's a new day.
Vegas always wins.
And we're getting back on the horse. We're getting back on the horse today. Before we talk about some of the big matchups from tonight, let's talk about Tennessee for a second. Now, number 1 in KenPom, number 2 in the AP poll behind Purdue. Are they a real threat to be able to win it all this season?
They're a threat, and I actually just finished filing an article, will be on ESPN.com, about some futures plays around conference winners and national championship winners and Final Four appearances. Without the bracket, it is a futile exercise, but there are certain teams I feel really good about that could get to at least Houston in the Final Four. This is the most open year we've ever had. We said that last year. I think we're going to say it a lot. I think with NIL and transfer portal, like the democratization of talent is like apparent right now. Yeah. And blue bloods maybe aren't as blue as they've always been. To answer your Tennessee question, defensively, they're elite. They're one of the best, along with Houston in the country. They make you feel them on every possession. Every possession is a battle. They switch well. They communicate well. They rotate well. And they're smart. And they're veteran. Problem with them is they really do still struggle to score at times. Like offensively, they're better than they were last year, but they still can go through these lulls. And I think people like want to overlook that. And there's people in my same role that want to say, Houston, Tennessee's better offensively. Yeah, they're better than they were last year. Last year they were terrible, like relative to their potential. So this team they got pieces. I don't think they win this whole thing. I think when you have that small of a margin of error with your offensive inabilities and in a one-game tournament like the NCAA tournament is, that I don't see them going 6-6 through March and April.
Yeah, there's a formula to win this thing, and it's usually cooked up in the sauce of the KenPom ratings, and I think they're kind of on the outside of where the offense needs to be like the fit like that profile of what that national championship team is. One team that kind of is on the verge of it, and by the way, I agree with the bracket opinion. It's very hard to pick the winner. One thing that I think is a little bit more bettable at this stage is just to make the Final Four, because I think that takes a little bit less bracket luck. In fact, I actually think there's some teams that maybe are kind of in that interesting seeding line that might get lucky if one of the other teams in their little region gets knocked out. They don't have to actually win the whole thing, but just make it the Final Four. Creighton's one of those teams, Dalen, and I think Creighton just they've got I hate using this term, but it really does make sense with this team. They have that it factor. And their makeup is kind of a little more defensive-minded than you would think. And we've seen a lot of Big East teams make runs to the Final Four. Nova last year, you picked the year basically. And they kind of look like Nova of years past. What do you make of this Creighton bunch?
I like them a lot. That's one of the teams I highlighted in the article. They're plus 4,500 to win it all. And again, don't love that necessarily, but They're plus 1,200 right now to get to the Final Four. I do expect those numbers to come down. They went through a 6-game losing streak earlier this year where Ryan Kalkbrenner was out for, I believe, 4 of those games. They're 7-1 center. And to your point, he makes them defensively more stout, good rim protector, great rim runner, can score at the rim, and helps them facilitate offense with a pick-and-roll game. Without him, that was a different team. And the committee will look at that too and say, okay, what were they with and without Kalkbrenner? So that could affect their seeding as well. So right now, I actually love them as a Final Four play in their price because that price is going to move down. To win it all, as we mentioned, that price may move down as well. Not sure I want to do that at this minute. I do think they're going to end up with the top 4 seed, which helps. So yeah, I really like Creighton's team, and offensively, they're gifted, man. They got a lot of dudes that can really go, and they got great point guard play. They have exactly what you want. I think they won 7 of 9. They obviously dismantled Xavier this weekend at home. So yeah, I like Creighton a lot. But I think with betting who's going to get to the Final Four, seeding does matter. And right now, there's only 2 teams that are guaranteed a 1 seed, and 1 seed makes you like 50% more likely to get to a Final Four than any other seeding. It's Houston and Purdue. And Purdue has separated itself a little bit in terms of they just have Zach Edey, who's a mountain of a man, and 7-4. I don't know what the hell to do with him. And teams are trying to figure it out on the fly. And Houston, I already mentioned, I love their toughness, their physicality. The Final Four is in Houston. They've had guys that have made runs before. Kelvin Sampson's a very good coach. They may end up being the number 1 overall seed. So that helps their path. So I think both those teams right now, I think Houston was plus 600 and Purdue was Houston was plus 140 and Purdue plus 250 to get to the Final Four. Not long odds, but I like them where they're at right now. Outside of that, it's hard for me to put a Final Four play outside of some longer numbers, like the Creightons, North Carolina even. I think Carolina is a team that has that nucleus still there. If Caleb Love ever realizes I don't have to shoot it every other time down, that team could really go back to where they were, last year and make a run if he's a little more efficient, which he was in their last outing. So that's positive, last 2 outings. So, I mean, Armando Bacot's a beast. So I really do think North Carolina can be one of those teams. We want to just monitor where their price is at as it relates to getting to a Final Four.
A conference that's just been an absolute monster this season has been the Big 12. They have the Big 12 SEC Challenge last weekend. The Big 12 won 7-3. Just what did you make from the Big 12 SEC Challenge, and how stacked is the Big 12 this year?
Was it Denny Green? We are who they thought they were, or whatever the hell that thing is. That's exactly what we are with the Big 12. They're who we thought they were, and they went out there and proved it. Yeah. And even like a team like Texas Tech went on the road and beat LSU. It's probably LSU struggling, still a road win. Kansas goes and beats Kentucky on the road. Every other home team won, and that included Oklahoma just throttling Alabama. I really do like Alabama.
Yeah.
They didn't get off the plane. They had no interest in playing that game. I've never seen them be that lifeless. Yeah. So I don't think that's indicative of what they can be, but I think the Big 12 was put on kind of a show for what they do. Tough, physical, older teams, very difficult to beat at home. And that conference it's rugged. And there's 2 ways to look at it. Some coaches will say it does prepare us for the tournament. And some say we beat the hell out of each other, and now we got to go play in the tournament. And that's not easy. It actually helps a lot of teams in the Big 12 tournament to lose early in that Big 12 tournament, to get the extra days off, to not have to play 3 games in 3 days in KC against each other. So teams that have to win it to get in, that's great. Teams that don't, ironically, that usually helps guys' bodies get right. Baylor, the year they won it with one of those examples, you can see that in different times. So long story short, the Big 12 is absolutely loaded. Obviously, K-State and Kansas play tonight. That's another thing. I think right now Texas is atop that conference. You look at Texas's schedule, though, down the stretch. They have the 4 hardest road games left to play. At K-State, at Kansas, at TCU, at Baylor. And they have a home game against KU. I don't think they're winning this thing. They're the favorite right now by the bookies. But I like Kansas and Kansas State at plus 225 and plus 250 respectively. I'm going to put money on both. I think we're looking at a split, a shared title between the Sunflower State rivals. And I think we should have a great game tonight.
Do you think this time of year is a weird time to have the Big 12 SEC Challenge? Do you like that it breaks up the monotony of conference play? Because like you said, Alabama just gave the game away. Like they had no interest in being there. I don't know if that's blanket for all of the teams in that challenge, but it does seem like an interesting time to kind of break the monotony of conference schedule and kind of have these standalone games.
Well, I think we actually need bigger, and this is like I've talked to coaches about that. We need bigger events in college basketball or throughout the season. Yeah. Tentpole events that have Kansas, Kentucky, that have Gonzaga, Duke, that have big brand names playing each other in different manners to kind of pop up and get people's attention. I think we should program them within the schedule. I think we should do away with non-conference and conference. I think we should kind of mix it all up and just try to find ways, because college basketball right now in terms of cultural relevance, ratings, I'm well aware of this. It's all going down. It is not a ship on the rise. It's not F1. It is not soccer in our country. It is going the other way, especially in the demographics of who's watching the sport. So with all that said, let's try to be creative and think differently. So I would like to think that we could find ways to have big tentpole events and build these things around what else is going on in the world. Feed off some football lead-ins, which we do sometimes in the November, December windows. When we get to these windows when it's just basketball, how do we create these things that make people want to watch and be aware of who these guys are? And especially as NIL shows some of the, at least bigs, the centers, don't have a place in the NBA. They're coming back in college and people know who they are. They may be more likely to tap in, to watch a Drew Timme in Gonzaga because they now know who that is. He's been around for a couple of years. And we'll have more of that in years to come, I believe, because those guys are making seven figures to stay in college where they wouldn't be making that to get in the NBA right now because they can't fit in the NBA, modern NBA. I don't think it's a weird point in time. I think we need to actually just think about it more holistically. Unfortunately, this challenge is going away. This is the last year. So now it'll be the ACC and the SEC will be going forward with that.
Still pretty good.
Still have some brand names. Not sure it'll be as interesting in terms of the competition, but we'll see about that. But I do think that's just generally we got to look holistically at everything being different because right now it's not exactly trending upward. And I do think ESPN having the lion's share of the tonnage doesn't help that. And I know I'm employed by them, but I complain to them too.
Boston College Vanderbilt
doesn't
quite have the same ring to it, right there, Dalen? Boston College Vandy next year in the ACC SEC Challenge.
It's exactly what one of my colleagues, I think Kevin Connors, goes. We can't wait for that Georgia Tech. Like he was like that Georgia Tech Vandy game's really gonna rate.
Yeah,
I was like,
there you go.
Raking the views. You love to see it. A game that will rake in the views tonight, though, is the Kansas game. That spread was like 6.5, I think, a day ago. It moved to 7. Now it's at 8.5. I want to know, I was thinking about laying the points with Kansas. Obviously, they have the revenge factor. I feel like also they could take advantage inside because KSU really didn't have an answer for their size and physicality. Also, Kansas's bread and butter is the pick and roll, and I feel like they can really take advantage of Kansas State in that way. But is 8.5 too many points to lay with a team like that, even though they're playing at home and they have the revenge factor from just losing to them 2 weeks ago?
They have all those pieces, and I do think Dwan Harris in the middle pick and roll was outstanding against Kentucky. I think Kentucky didn't guard it particularly well. I think K-State will do a better job of guarding that and getting up in them and being a little more physical with them. But 8.5 is a lot, especially when you look at Kansas has not played well at the Fog. They were trailed by double digits to both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in the second half. Oklahoma game, they were on 10 with 4 minutes to go and won the game. And Jalen Wilson did say, we always win games like this, which is true. But you play with fire too often, then you have a TCU situation where they smacked them from start to finish at home. So this has not been the fortress that you would expect. I do think coming off that loss it hurts those guys. I do think how they played against Kentucky, because Jalen Wilson, outside of Zach Edey, is a National Player of the Year. And when he has support, that team is who we saw against Kentucky. When DeJuan Harris is aggressive and looks to score and looks to facilitate like he did in that game on the weekend. Prior to that, he was 2 for 18, the 3-game losing streak. Or 4-game prior, 2 for 18, and played almost 40 minutes a game. That just can't happen. He just wasn't looking at the basket. He came right out, made 2 threes in the first half, was aggressive, set the tone. KJ Adams was really good. Kevin McCullough had a double-double. So those guys, when they contribute, Kansas is capable of not just winning the league, but winning a national championship. That said, K-State is legit. Keontae Johnson is one of the best players in the Big 12 and the best story in college basketball right now since his collapse at Florida and where he is right now. Marquise Noel is a 5'8" jitterbug. That dude, he's not Trae Young. He's Trae Young-ish. He'll take some crazy shots from deep. He is quick as can be and hooks guys up with assists. He had 8 rebounds, too, the other day. Almost went a triple-double, 13, 9, and 8 at 5'8".
Crazy.
An impressive showing. So I think K-State is the real deal is what I'm saying. And I did think at 6, I was on Kansas. We're up at 8.5. I'm probably going to play the Wildcats and say they lose in a 2-possession game. I don't think they win, but I do think they keep it close for all those reasons.
Yeah, I got this game at 6.2. Kansas favored by 6.2. So I think 8.5 is a little too rich for my blood. Another interesting line tonight in the Big 12. TCU small, just a little slight home favorite against West Virginia. It's so crazy. In this Big 12, man. West Virginia is 2-6 in the league, and they're 20th in Ken Palm's overall ratings. I mean, it's just stacked city every single night when you're in this league. TCU tonight, again, a bit of a favorite, but I'll be honest, this league any given night, and I think the line's moving a little bit towards TCU. It moved to 3, and now it's back to 2.5. So it's kind of hovering in that 2.5, 3 range. Any vibes for you here between the Mountaineers and the Horned Frogs?
Well, the hard part here is TCU's hurt. Mikey Miles hyperextended his knee, went out early in that game, Mississippi State. I hate to say it. I know it's bad. I hope that young man is okay. I hope the injury is not bad. I did go Mississippi State live line immediately. I mean, as soon as he went down, that changes the whole component of the game. And you have Eddie Lampkin wasn't playing, and I'm going going to text my people and see who the hell's in and out here coming up shortly.
Yeah.
I'd like to let them.
Probably why the line's pretty short for.
No, I know it's short, but all the injuries concern me with TCU. Like I might be more of a live line play to see how they handle things. I'd say WVU has not been very good on the road. It's a tough road trip. Yeah. They're coming off a really good win at home against Auburn. So when I play this thing, I think I'm going to wait and see how the first couple minutes pan out. I may lose some points on that. I may lose some value. So they're just, when you go into a game with this many questions, it's hard for me to just say I'm going to, when there's so many other things on the slate to play it pre-tip. So I may wait and see live and see what's going on.
Love it. Great
awesome,
strategy.
Dalen. Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, lick your wounds from last night, have a taco, and let's get back after it tonight, okay?
I'm going to load up on a taco, and Lord knows I'll be back on the saddle. Could I not play? What are we talking about?
I love it. Dalen, have a great day. Happy Tuesday. We'll be talking to you soon.
See ya.
Great stuff.
Peace out. That is Dalen Cuff, college basketball broadcaster for ESPN. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Dalen Cuff. All right, before we get into our best bets, Jared, which I may or may not be betting the same thing that Dalen is, taking a page out of his book. Let's Bet It is presented by our friends at Superbook Sports. Pile up the wins, pile up the money with Superbook. Right now, the best betting app from Las Vegas is giving you free money every week you make a bet. Just place a $50 bet each week with Superbook, and they'll give you a $5 bonus up to $50 for betting each week afterwards. So if you're in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Nevada, New Jersey, or Tennessee, download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to get your streak started today. From superbook.com to Pickswise.com, 3-star play of the day. Who do we got today?
Got a lot of fun stuff for you. We have college basketball total with Sam Abalone checking in on Wake Forest Duke. Little Tobacco Road showdown there. Lakers Knicks. Philip Tomich has a money line play for you there. And LJ, this is going to wet your whistle. Mark Lammy has got a NHL player prop article on Tim Stützle. I probably mispronounced his name. You probably know who that is.
No, you're pretty right. You're pretty good.
I was right? Nice.
Yeah.
Go check that out. Lots of stuff for you today on Pickswise.com.
Absolutely love it. All right, our best bets of the day. We took a day yesterday. We chilled out. Yeah. We had a good weekend this weekend. Now we're back on the saddle today. Who do you have?
It did feel good to take a day off from betting. Actually, Tim Murray, one of our friends, actually was on the other side of that Iowa State meltdown. He actually had Texas Tech last night. So again, let's just leave it at this. If you're not mentally prepared to handle wins or losses in that nature, don't bet college basketball, people, because it is a freaking roller coaster every single night.
Madness.
And speaking of roller coaster,
madness.
It is. It's absolute madness. It's utter madness. And it's not even March yet. It's not even February yet. It's the last day of January. Happy birthday to my mom, by the way.
So cute shout out.
I had to get that in.
Love that.
Even though she's not watching. She's probably playing tennis right now and enjoying a mimosa or something. I am going back to my favorite trend in all of college basketball tonight. And this trend this year has been Cash Arenio City. It is the unranked home team favored against the ranked road team. It's happening in the Big Ten tonight. We have Indiana ranked 21st in I think it's the AP poll. I don't know whatever they're calling it these days. And they are an underdog. Sure, AP poll. Indiana, 21st ranked AP poll. Underdog against unranked Maryland at home. This trend is 19-10 ATS this year. The unranked home favorite is covering against the ranked road team 19 out of 29 games. And oh, by the way, Maryland's a pretty good team. It's not like we're just blindly betting on this trend. And they're really good at home. They're 4-0 against the number at home in conference play. Indiana's been playing great. Mike Woodson's got his boys playing probably some of their best basketball of the season. But again, this trend, as LJ would like to say, is my friend. And we are going to bet on the market, nailing this game correctly. I got 2.5. 3's available. We'll grade it at 3. They'll probably win by 3, but that's okay. I'll win my bet, and you guys might push. But there are 2.5s available out there if you look hard enough. Maryland laying it tonight against Indiana. The unranked home favorite in the Big Ten is going to get it done.
I like it. I really do. I'm taking a page out of Dalen Cuff's book. I was loving Kansas when it was at 6. I was loving Kansas when it was at 6.5. I was loving Kansas when it was at 7. It is at 8.5 now, so I am taking the points with K-State. I think Kansas is going to win this game, truly, hands down. Like Dalen was saying, I think it's going to be a 1-2 possession game, 4, 5, maybe 6-point game. But 8.5 is just way too many points to be laying. You said your line right now is at what, 6.1, 6.3?
Yep.
So 8.5 is about 2 points more than that. And I look at a team like K-State. They won 3 of their last 4. They're tied for first in conference standings, 7th in the AP poll right now, 18-3 on the season. And a lot of that is first-year head coach Jerome Tang and the transfers he had from Manhattan. They're playing physical and aggressive basketball, and it's wearing teams down. They work really well in isolation. They draw a ton of fouls. And with the way Kansas has been playing, yeah, they dropped 3, and then they righted the ship with one game against Kentucky. But the offense primarily runs through the pick and roll, and it worked really, really well against Kentucky. I feel like K-State has a better idea of how to defend that just because they are so physical and they are so aggressive on the basketball. This game's going to be won by Kansas, but I think that K-State has a really good chance to cover the spread, 8.5 points. Let's make it happen, guys. Locking it on in. I'm getting into some college basketball. So that's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. That's Jared Smith. I'm Laura Barra. Guess what? If you miss us, we'll be right back with you tomorrow. Until then, happy Taco Tuesday. Enjoy your tacos. Peace out. We'll see you tomorrow.